So here's my three audience members today: my dad, my mom, and my brother. Um, this is my note card for the speech. So it's the changing of the season, and with the changing of the season, it's a change in the holidays. We had Halloween not that long ago, and we all know what the next holiday is, right? It's Thanksgiving. Don't tell the stores that; they still think it's Christmas, but that's a different thing. And because it's Thanksgiving, we all sit down. We're thankful for what we've done. When you're eating your delicious turkey that your mom slaved all day to make, have you ever thought of what was the first Thanksgiving like? Or when was the first Thanksgiving? Well, then you start to think back. When you're in fourth grade, you're probably told that the first Thanksgiving was with the Pilgrims. And when they landed in the new land, and they celebrated with the Indians or the Native Americans. And I would say you're only half right about that. Because they didn't land right away and eat with them. I'll tell you a little bit more. But today I'll be talking about the Pilgrim Thanksgiving, the first Thanksgiving, and the current Thanksgiving. So let's get into it. Let's first talk about the Pilgrim Thanksgiving. Like I said earlier, we were probably told the Pilgrims had the first Thanksgiving when they landed. But they actually didn't have this feast until 3 years after they landed in what is now Plymouth, Massachusetts. And they're new to the land. They didn't know how to farm, they didn't know how to raise animals, and they didn't know how to hunt. So they had to learn from the Native Americans of the area. After 3 long, grueling years, they had more of a harvest festival instead of a Thanksgiving. And there's only one real documentation behind this. And it's by this guy called Edward Wilson. And it was in his book or journal at the time that he talked about the first feast that they had. And as he states, many of the Indians coming amongst us, and amongst them is their greatest king Messiah, some 90 men, who we entertained for 3 long days. He's talking about where they had brought in the Indians, and they had celebrated. Now, onto the first Thanksgiving. When I mean first Thanksgiving, I mean first federal Thanksgiving. This was first talked about with George Washington and a Day of Thanks. But then it wasn't put into effect until Abraham Lincoln after the Civil War. If we all know the Civil War, that was a time of very bad inconvenience for all of Americans. So he wanted to bring peace amongst them. So what he did is he created the Presidential Proclamation 106, where he declared one day to be a day of thanks. As he says in the Presidential Proclamation, American people, I do hereby invite you and my fellow citizens and those across foreign lands to a day of thanks. And this day of thanks would be on the last Thursday of November. And it stayed this way until FDR. And in FDR, he moved it to the second to last Thursday of November. This second to last Thursday made a huge inconvenience. They're actually celebrating 2 Thanksgivings. The last Thursday of November and the second to last Thursday of November. It stayed like this for 2 whole years until it was changed to the 4th Thanksgiving, or the 4th Thursday of November. I would like to thank you guys for listening to my speech today about the history of Thanksgiving. And I hope you all have a good night.